Hello beautiful bibliophiles, I hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since I last uploaded a video and now we're almost over with July, like really close to the end of July, so I thought what better thing to talk about other than books that totally fit the summer and that you should totally read during the summer. So these aren't going to be any underrated books you've never heard of before. It's mostly some older very known titles that maybe are on your TBR, and if they are, I feel like you should prioritize them and read them for the end of July or August, so it can be summer and they can match the summer vibes, the hazy real life summer vibes with the hazy bookish summer vibes. So yeah, I hope you get some nice recs from this video. Tell me your favorite book that takes place during the summer or that you feel should be read during the summer down in the comments below. And I hope you get some nice recs from this video, so let's get started. First of all, did you really not expect me to recommend The Raven Cycle by Marquez? This is the first book out of the four, The Raven Boys, and is this exclusively summer vibes? Definitely not. If anything, I'd say this is more spring going into summer vibes and summer going into fall, definitely, and just fall vibes in general. But it's also perfect for the summer. First of all, let me tell you a bit about my favorite series of all time, if you haven't heard me rant about it already. This is the story of an amazing friendship between Blue, who comes from a family of magical women, and four Raven Boys, aka four boys who attend a private school in their little town, and how all five of them become friends, and they just ride in their Camaro and they're getting into this crazy adventure, crazy but beautiful adventure, trying to find, among other things, the tomb of a dead king who is supposedly in their little town, who may or may not grant wishes to those who find him. And among that, they discover that their life is more supernatural than they think, that there's magic in their town, there are ley lines and energy fields, and a magical forest that transitions seasons while in the same forests, and where the trees speak Latin to them, and where everything can only be explained by a very loose and hazy and just cool magic system that is not very just strictly like developed, but it's just so hazy and cool and magical and just hazy and cool. And is hazy not the perfect summer vibes? Like, this magic system is summer vibes. And most importantly, this focuses a lot on their friendship between these five kids, and it's incredible. They're just riding in their Camaro, going to the forest, vibing in the forest. Also, tragic things happen to them, but you know, that's life. And it's just gorgeous, it's just amazing. It is my favorite series of all time, my favorite characters of all time. It's just perfect, and I just needed another excuse to go tell you to read this book because it's freaking amazing. And I just feel like the adventure between a group of friends and their close friendship is summer vibes. Like, I feel like going on this weird magical adventure with your friends is a summer thing, you know what I mean? So you could also read this because it's my favorite book of all time, maybe, just saying. Then I have an adult title for you, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you are on BookTube and haven't read this book, you are immune to any kind of propaganda forever in your life. You're safe from everything because this book had been so hyped, and I can't say that the hype is wrong because this book is actually quite special and cool. This focuses on this fictional band from the late 70s, Daisy Jones and the Six. They were a separate band, and then they teamed up with Daisy Jones, and they are a band, all of them together, and we just focus on their band life. So through the style of an interview that these characters are giving very far in the future when they're much older, we see their band life in the 70s. So if you like rock bands, and if you're one of those people that just, when you like an old band, you just go on YouTube and you try to find all the rare footage of them behind the scenes, and just, if you watch those conspiracy rock and roll channels about all the feds and the beefs between rock stars, you're going to absolutely adore this. We have so many complex characters, and there's just very different from one another, and they have all these things happen to them, and all the different ways in which they cope with these situations, and very complex relationships with one another. This has a few trigger warnings, so I would suggest you search it up before you go into it, but I think it's a nice recommendation for the summer because it's like, you know, band life in the 70s, rock scene. It's just, I think it's really cool, and I think it really fits the summer. Like, does this not scream summer vibes to you? Does this not scream summer vibes to you? I think it's summer vibes, and it's a cool book to read. I feel like a lot of Taylor Jenkins Reid books are good for the summer, even though this is the only one I've read of hers. I feel like they all have a summer vibe, so this is another rec I have for the summer. A lot of people are going to absolutely hate me for this one, but Call Me By Your Name by Andre Ashman. I think I pronounced that right, I hope. So you probably have heard of this. This is the movie tie-in edition, so maybe you watched the movie, I don't know. But this is set in 80s in Italy in the summer, like immaculate setting, and it is about a romance between a 17-year-old boy called Elio. I got confused with the Call Me By Your Name, and a house guest that goes to their house in Italy, Oliver. So yeah, do know that there is an age gap between these characters that will probably make you feel uncomfortable because Elio is 17 and Oliver is 25, so do know that. And it's pretty much about the romance between them that takes place in that one summer. And okay, I get why this is not about for most people, because like, it's weird, okay, let's admit it, it's weird. It's a lot about physical love being expressed in very unorthodox ways, so I very much understand why people dislike it and hate it. And I also understand why they say that the romance is toxic, but in my opinion, it's not so much like it's not a love story, like it's not about the romance. It's mostly to see how young people who fall in love do it in a very reckless and just weird, unorthodox, passionate, desperate way that could end up hurting them, and how they express their thoughts in weird ways when they're in that process. And this is one reason why I love this book, and also I really love it because the writing is really beautiful. It has some of my favorite quotes of all time in it, to be honest, and also the perfect book to read in the summer. Like, this book screams summer. It's set in Italy in the summer, like they're just in this villa house that is very traditionally built, and they're just chilling and reading all the books, and they go to the balcony and they hear the cicadas, and they're just like looking at the beaches, and there's all this green around them. They ride their bikes through this small, nice, graphic, traditional Italian little town, or they go swimming in the lake, and it's just all a gorgeous Italian landscape in the summer. So I do feel like this is a greater experience if you read it in the summer. So yeah, but do know it's not for everyone. Next, I have one of my favorite young adult contemporaries, and that is I'll Give You the Sun by Jonny. I think it's one of the best YA contemporaries out there because the writing is just immaculate. I feel like it's one of the best written young adult contemporaries I've ever seen. And also the characters, they're so complex, and the relationships between them are just, and the revelations throughout, oh, it's so good. It's obviously summer vibes because I'll Give You the Sun and this cover, and just some of it is set in the summer, I believe. Part of it is set in the summer. And there are a few beaches, and also trigger warnings, so check those before reading the book. But this is about twin siblings, Noah and Jude, and how they drifted apart through some terrible things that happened to them and that they kind of did to each other, and just their tragic story and how they are coming close together again gradually. And we find out about what happened to them through two different timelines. Noah's timeline, which is the past timeline, and Jude's timeline, which is later in their lives, just a few years later. And it's just so good. It's some immaculate quotes in this. It's so beautifully written, and just to see them drifting apart and then just trying to find their way back to loving each other, and just how much they love art. Art is a big part of this book, and it's just very beautiful. very heartbreaking but also very heartwarming. You're going to cry, you're going to laugh, and you're going to hopefully love it. So check it out this summer, maybe. Yes, maybe, please, yes. Lastly, I have a classic, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I read this in March, and I do think it's a spring read as well, but it's also a good summer read, I believe, because it's just so much drama, so much hazy drama. And what is summer if not hazy drama? You know what I mean? So this follows 5 generations of a family living in a fictional town of Colombia called Macondo, and we just follow through their lives, but they're not that normal lives, because apart from the fact that everyone's being super dramatic and all these horrible things are happening, there's also magic, because it's magical realism, and most of the things that happen in this book cannot be explained by logic. All these events are so surreal, and you're just reading them and you're like, what, how, whoa, why? And it's just so beautiful, magical, eerie, whimsical, and just surreal. And I think it was beautifully written. The characters are so complex, exactly because we're following them throughout their lives. We're not necessarily going to like all of them. Like, most of them I didn't even like as people, but they are very well fleshed out characters. And Gabriel Garcia Marquez even tied up some actual historical events of Colombia through the fictional story, which I thought was beautiful. And just following all these characters throughout their lives and seeing all these things that happen to them, and the ending, the amount of magical realism in that ending, and just how wow it is. I loved it so much. It was really something else. It was wow, you know. So I would suggest you read it in the summer, because I feel like magical realism is a genre to read in the summer because of that haziness, like I said before. Do know that it is quite complex and confusing, because there are so many characters and all of their names are either are either Jose Arcadio or Aureliano, so it is confusing, but I feel like if you keep notes, you're gonna do great with this book. It's just beautiful. Like, go ahead and read it. I had a great time. I'm even thinking of rereading it this summer, but I don't really have the time. But if I did, I would read it, because it feels like a summer read. So do check it out this summer if you want to. Those were my summer bookies recommendations. I feel like these books are great to read anytime, but mostly in the summer. So I hope I gave you some nice recs. Tell me what you'll be reading for the rest of the summer. Tell me some books you think I should read this summer, because they have perfect, immaculate, hazy summer vibes. And thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it took me such a long time to post a new video. It was like exams were coming to an end, and then it was like hazy and lazy. So yeah, I am going to be more consistent with posting from now on, hopefully. But thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you soon with another video, and I hope you're doing great. Have a great day or night if you're watching this at night, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.